Welcome to Volley IQ. Our first episode is going to be with me, AJ Nally. Brian's going to take over the duties. Our goal for this podcast is to get really good minds into this space so we can learn about who they are and then what their take is on the sport, kind of what they do well or what they see how the game's evolving, and then watch film on that topic and then kind of give you cues and understanding to then take it to your game and move forward. So it's all about volley IQ, understanding more than just technique, understanding patterns and techniques and situations and putting those all together so that you have a good idea of what's happening rather a very small view of I need to do this. It's going to be zoomed out.
All right, here we go. So if the audience wants to know more about AJ, give us a little bit about your background in the sport and your background just as a person, things you like to do.
Yeah, so I got to volleyball after playing all the sports, basketball, soccer, golf, and it was a really cool process for me because I had all of this built up knowledge. I love multi-sport athletes, and then I could say, "Hey, I have all this information and experience around sport." Dive in at 15 when I was a lot more aware of my body and what I wanted to do and say, hey, throw all of it at volleyball. I wanted to jump higher for basketball, but volleyball took over and it was such a passion project for me to start understanding how to be better at something, dive deeper. It was right around that high school where you start understanding academics more and then volleyball more. So it was a really cool period of time. I think volleyball is a late developing sport. So that all made sense for me and I took it and ran. And so I got in late at like 15, 16 club. Then I went to Springfield College Division III, but I had Charlie Sullivan, who was connected to SPRA on the national team. And I got a really good experience of playing right away, playing for championships, and then having that college coach that was like high level. So all of that cultivated my passion for the sport and really shot it up to more of my like intrigue because I wasn't still like amazing. It was just like, hey, I'm getting better. I'm getting better. And it turned into this growth rather than, all right, I'm like, at UCLA or something. It was more of a genuine process through the sport. And then once I got overseas, just kept on like drooling over, okay, what's the next step? What's the next step? And luckily I played really well in Germany and caught the eyes of national team, or they just felt bad for me. I don't know how I got there, but I got there and started to be like, whoa, now all of the stuff that I loved about this sport, there's even deeper levels and learning from, Spraw and Furbringer, and then leaving there and learning from Alfie Reft in his gym in LA. And then Vital Heinen was my coach in Poland my last year. Through those minds, it was, whoa, I'm only 20% of the way. And four athletes kind of arrived when I realized, man, at 26, I'm retired. I'm learning all of this stuff about the sport. I wish I knew this at 16 in Rochester, New York. And that's where four athletes came from.
So at what point in your journey did you kind of know like volleyball was going to be the thing for you? It was the thing you wanted to pursue for a little while.
Rochester's a really cool place. It's a small little mecca. You'll see kids going to like UCLA and Loyola. And the fascinating part about Rochester, even though we don't have like a big community, it's a very tight knit. I'm rooting for you. You're amazing. You're the best. Go do this. And so we had a close friend, the Odells. Steve Odell went to UCLA. Dan Odell was my brother's year, and he went to Penn State. And that whole family, Dale was like, "You're really good. You're really good." And I'm like, I like can't hit the ball in. I don't know what I'm doing. You're great. You're great. You got great hands. I'm like, I don't know what that means. But Rochester was this, let's build each other up and then let's see where you can go and you can blossom. So I think I started to understand like 17's year. I was 16 twos and then I made the 17 ones. And I was with John Hackett, who went to USC, Alan Mars, who went to Penn State. And it was like, oh, I'm here. I still have a long ways to go because I'm not them, But I think that's kind of what sparked me that 17-1's club year of I'm with them. I'm not with them, but I'm with them. Like, let's go after this.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's a great journey. So, were there any points in your career that really stood out as moments of struggle, things that maybe made you question it later on? Could be college, could be pro, just moments where you felt like this is a tough road.
Yeah, we don't have enough time for all of them, but the biggest one was getting overseas the first time. I had all this excitement, and then if you look back at 2011, and no Instagram, no YouTube, really, no information. I was Facebook messaging old PTs at Springfield about, hey, I have this weird thing in my foot. Like, what do I do? And I'm practicing 4 hours a week playing on Saturdays. It was this weird motion, like phase of my life of I want this, but I don't know what to do. And I'm trying to create this identity of, hey, I'm a pro and this is what Kobe and LeBron do. And then it's like, but I have no clue what I'm doing and I need help. And it was almost like I was in the ocean going like, somebody help me. And it was like really frustrating. And then that was kind of like the stickiness that I had a little bit at Springfield where I wanted to lift, but I didn't know how. My body was breaking down, but I was playing good. And again, this is why like For Athletes is such a passion project for me because I wanted more information in high school. I wanted more information in college. I wanted more information overseas. And then I almost quit when I was in France and Nancy because it was just, I couldn't see through that cloud. And I left that team. I was like, all right, I'll go to a tryout. And then literally I went to that tryout and got a contract. And Germany was the clouds parting. It was out of nowhere because I didn't play well in France and in Pro B. But then I got there and I'm like, these are my people. This is like a platform where I can play Berlin, Kavika Soji, Paul Carroll. I could play the big dogs, work on my craft with good people. We had 5 North Americans. And like that was the aha moment after a lot of questioning of why am I doing this? Nancy, France is miserable in February. And yeah, just a complete roller coaster.
Yeah, I think that's great for people to hear. No matter where anyone is at in their journey, everyone's going to have some type of struggle and need to find something that keeps them moving forward. So that's great. So moving on to kind of For Athletes and how that started, what was the thing that drove you to start it, and where do you feel like it's going now?
I left a camp I was working for Gold Medal Squared at the time, and I loved their process. And I got into it. I got in more of the weeds. And then I left like that Thursday that you finish camp. And then that Friday, like you're on the plane and you're like, I guarantee these players and these coaches like really have no idea how to actually implement this stuff. They're going to go back to being a teacher and coaching on the side. They're going to go back to the players, their old coaches or their old club coaches, and they'll just kind of like slowly trickle that information down, and then they'll be right back where we started. So all the videos that we've started, Megan and I, Megan played at UCLA, and then I had all that information and that passion. We started For Athletes as a way to get players more information, very simplified. I love my approach to the game because it's more of taking from all the sports that I played instead of, hey, your shoulder is like this, and then always do this. It's like, hey, think about lifting up a basket, right? It's a very intuitive way to play. And we found a good little niche of the videos. And I think that helped people start understanding like, hey, I got to go into the gym, but then I got to keep learning outside of the gym as well. And that was this, maybe we didn't start it, but it's like maybe that was when people started understanding whoa, I can learn outside of my coach or my club or college, and I can start growing like the other sports of, golf and basketball have all their trainers and stuff. So this kind of like last 8 years has been For Athletes coming from that root core of, man, people need more information no matter where they are. And then those videos kind of help blossom all the camps, the clinics, and now For Athlete School.
Yeah, that's awesome. So what's the next step in the four athletes company? What's the next stage?
Yeah, for athlete school. So we just launched, and I'm super passionate about this. I feel like it's my capstone project. You all have that in like high school or college where all of your work and all of the things that you've been doing and they all come together, and this is it. So school is all about bringing all of the information that I've had coaching a 12-year-old, a high school or college, a pro athlete, playing in high school, college, and pro, and then all of that information given to the person and the student. Oh, let's call them students now, but like giving the students this information if they're a 16-2 kid playing in Rochester, New York. And I think it's like a full circle moment for me, which is really cool that I can kind of say, hey, here's all the information in a very clean way. School, SKOOL.com is a really cool platform. I've thought about doing it different ways, and this just makes sense. And I'm super pumped that it's out there now officially. So go check it out. And yeah, I'm going to be pouring everything into four athletes volleyball school.
Yeah, I think this can really help a lot of people. Who do you think is like the biggest target, or who can it benefit the most?
I think we have this. If we look at AJ and Nally of past, like this high school or like whenever you start getting intro to the sport of, hey, how do I know how to hold my platform and I know like where the like what I'm doing in general, but why do we do those things? Or what are the specific positions? Or what are we trying to accomplish as a goal? So that like beginning phase into mastery is kind of like that perfect demographic, right? So you could be like a 13-year-old girl to 18 before you get to college. You could be like a guy who played all the sports and my brothers where they're like, wow, AJ's playing volleyball. And that could be like 18 to 30-year-old guys at the local watering hole. And it's just about you found this passion, you care about it, you care about growing. So whenever that triggers for you, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, like whenever that goes, and then it'll carry you all the way into like mastery of, hey, you need to be playing every single day and you need to be working out and you need a trainer and you need a coach and you need to be playing all the time. So like as soon as you get to that point, it's going to start being the school's going to be more of an avenue to get to me and being like, hey, you've graduated, let's work together one-on-one. And that's kind of where my pros in college and high school players are, is that like I've given them all my information. Now they're like, cool, I have this one problem or these two problems. AJ, fix it for me.
Yeah, great. What are some of the resources that we can see or players can get through school? Is it videos, other coaches? What are some things that we can expect through it?
So you've seen a lot of content on YouTube or Instagram or TikTok, and that's kind of the base. But we've created courses that progress perfectly for the player. So they can start getting, once they know the basics, they can get in and start flow through concepts of this is what you should be focused on as an outside hitter, or if you're learning to learn passing, and going into middles, and it allows you to progress through the courses with videos, PDFs, and descriptions. And then you can go into pay for courses as well. So we'll have experts on there talking about jumping, nutrition, sports performance, sports psych. And then you can start understanding more in-depth stuff from real experts in that field who've spent as much of time as I have with volleyball in their respective areas. And then we can go on Zooms where I'll have, meet and greets and Q&As, video breakdowns while we're doing similar things like this. And then they can take part in discussion boards where you can have topics and ask questions and interact with other people on the site. And I think it's an all-encompassing way to learn. And I think it's really cool. If we look at our app that we had, it was all the videos, all the great content, But then I think it was missing this piece of community and asking and interacting. And I think this is it.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, now that we know more about you and the new platform on school, what we're going to be offering, let's jump into one of the topics that was so good for you in your career.
Yeah, that's shot selection. I did not have the biggest arm. I wasn't the strongest. I didn't hit the hardest, but getting kills was pretty creative for me. And I think that was where I shined. I got, 10 to 15 sets and I had to hit, 200, 300, 400, depending on the day. And when you look at these videos, it's not sunshine and rainbows. It's definitely not Matt Anderson or like TJ DeFalco, but it is a kill. And I think that's kind of my sweet spot in attacking as I could pass really well. And then if they did happen to set me, I could do a lot to help our team. And kind of that role for an outside is really big. It's like, cool, if you're really tall for whatever level you are, that's great. And you have power, that's great. You need shot selection to succeed.
Yeah, this is a hard skill to teach at any age and hard to learn throughout your career. So I think it'd be great to look at some of your examples and kind of see what kind of shots can score at a high level, and see how we can go about training that.
All right, let's look. I'm 16. My buddy Chupko, he's number 8. And I was watching this match a couple days ago, and it kind of dawned on me, oh man, we're 15 points into this match, and neither one of us has actually like hit the ball. And I think that's what people don't understand is they think just hitting lines translates 80% of the time. And kind of we'll watch these videos and maybe hitting lines is like 5, 10% of the time. And I think we'll kind of see that in fruition here. This is the first one. I think that was my bread and butter, right? Like passing, getting into the seam, and then also having this ability to shoot out. And a lot of people will like kind of pass here and they'll cut it off. They'll probably go towards more of a three and like hit a higher ball, like slow the game down. But right here, I have the advantage if I go and like focus on the outside and I just shrink the court to only zone one. I know right in this moment that it's going to come at whatever pace that we're talking about between the hitter and the setter. And I'm just going to go line. If he reaches, I'm going to go block out. If he goes and presses over, I'm going to go more towards the 1-6 seam. If it's tight, I'm going to try to bounce. If it's into his hands, that I'm going to wipe. So players don't realize that I've already made up my mind to like 4 shots in this moment right here as I pass and I get up. I think a lot are like, "Ooh, what am I going to do? Like, can I hit cross? Can I do this?" So I get right here. He actually sets me, which like I was kind of shocked. So I kind of like trip here to stop my momentum, like kind of on purpose. I do this a lot to be like, cool, like go into neutral, and then I'm like really aware of I call it the triangle of information, right? So it's like me, the ball, the block, and I'm really trying to figure out, all right, is he gonna reach? Yep. And then I go block out and I get a kill. And I think that's a superpower that I had. It was a pretty lame one. I would have loved to hit a lot harder, but here again, I'm I'm on the right side, and it's just a great opportunity to get a kill fast. And we talk about wiping a lot. People love to question if it's a carry or not, but if you look at this and in kind of real time, like I'm holding it, he's holding it, we're fighting. There's no way that he's gonna call a carry here, but I'm in control of that ball. I'm almost like palming that ball throughout this play. And like I'm in the advantage because I'm going up against here. I'm not going up against here. If you're trying to stop this play, grab the ball. Reed Pretty taught me that, like just grab the ball and hold on to it. And I think that's, again, not a awesome play, but it's a kill in a weird situation. This is Chupko and a great tip high off the block. It fumbles around, right? Like the setter's getting into the game here, so we're not in flow and we're not in a rhythm yet. But he's going here. All right, the ball's a little bit high, little shot tip, and he gets a kill. And then this is great outside management. If you're an outside, this is what we need to do. We need to create good opportunities for the next play. He didn't get the kill here, but that's a recycle. Boom, into the block, have your team covered. And then he took a rip there. It would have been a great block out, but unlucky he hit it with his shoulder. But he's managing the game right here. He's waiting for his opportunities to get a kill. And I think this is where finally we hit a ball between the two of us. Is that all right? We're probably like 8-8 or something. And he takes this opportunity to transition. He's not in like a great position, but it's a good ball and he goes high off those hands, deep block out. And I think that's a great example of being super creative, right? Not trying to bounce the whole time, going high, going around, mixing it up, and then you're creating the pace of the game as an outside rather than like people try to like get kills to influence, but we're in control of kind of our side and our offense, and that's really underrated skill.
So did you feel like this was the kind of style of volleyball you saw most often, or did it largely depend on just the type of player that was on the floor, meaning more physical, smaller, bigger, or were more teams playing this kind of style?
Yeah, Chupko is the opposite of me. Like a high, like he was a little bit taller, right? Like that 6'6", 6'7", just a little bit taller, a little bit higher. He had a heavy arm and like he was super creative as well. So he played at Belatov, he played at like all these big clubs, and like that's a great high swing. So he goes super high off the block and then he had that tip, right? He had the recycle. So where I had to be, and that's why he got more sets, right? So it's like I got 15 sets because I couldn't terminate out of system like he could. He got 30 sets because he had all the shots. And oh, by the way, he was tall, he hit with power, and he hit with range. His bick was nasty too. And I think that's where the how many sets you get is pretty much determined by that.
Yeah. So how do we go about training this for younger players? Is it very specific situations where they're working on one shot at a time, or putting them in more random situations and then kind of using film and looking back on plays to figure out what some other options were?
The first thing that we when we were coaching together, what we realized was they need exposure to the ideas. Like if you said, hey, go recycle, they'd probably be like, what are you talking about? Like, I need to hit the ball. So exposing them to all of this information is critical. Saying, hey, this is how we tip, this is how we wipe. These are the best places to tip. These are the best places to go block out. So once the kid, no matter if they're like 12, 13, 14, like they need to understand the game. And then once they understand it, they need to start solving for whatever kind of they're good at, what they see, what they're comfortable with. And then the next step would be creating that block training around, hey, this is the motor pattern. You know, hey, when you went block out, that was a great choice. You're just 17 and you can't do it 9 out of 10 times. For me, block out, I could probably do 28 out of 30. So creating that block training is very valuable. And then you start putting them in pressure situations where, hey, we're point scoring and there's points in the game and it's 6-on-6 and it's random. And by the way, that's the play that we've been working on. But I think exposure, getting them comfortable with the idea, putting them in situations, block training it, and then going for that random. I don't think block training it all the time will help. And I don't think random training all the time will help because at some point they'll need to learn that shot.
Yeah, I agree. A lot of times when we were bringing in new concepts like this into our gym, we'll send the players a video, just like the one we watched of the situation, so they can get an idea of what it looks like, what it feels like, and then perfect way to explain it. Just put them in the situation, then make it more random. They're hard skills to learn, but if we're open to learning things and just all about getting better in the journey, I think this is a really big skill.
Yeah, I'm so frustrated how much I learned towards the later part of my career. And I think that getting exposed to those awesome coaches, kind of that 24, 25, 26, was really cool for me. And then that's probably why I'm still coaching because I still have stuff left in the tank. But if you're looking at a person, a kid, or a player who's still um, learning and like kind of in our spots when we were younger, it's all about exposure to ideas, really learning from people, understanding who you are, what's your style of play, and then picking out, hey, I'm going to take from him, I'm going to take from them. And then you start being like, hey, I am this player, and then be you to a T and grind at that. But I think we need a little bit more exposure.
Great. Great. Well, thanks for letting us learn more about you, more about how you were successful overseas with shot selection. Hopefully, people come to school, check it out, see all the great content, and then they can continue to interact with us through the discussion boards and everything else on the platform.
Yeah. And podcast number two, wonder who it's going to be. But I thought this was awesome. So let us know in the comments. Always like and subscribe. Appreciate you guys. Great job, Bry. And we'll talk soon.